Welcome back to another update video. In this video, we're going to be talking about our launch. We officially have been on the Amazon marketplace for over a month now, and we want to share all the results with you. We're going to be pulling back the curtains and we're going to be showing you how our strategy worked, exactly what we did. We're going to be showing our sales and profit numbers as well, and so much more. So without further ado, I will pass it over to Brian. Please take us away and get us kicked off.
Absolutely. First of all, I'd like to say sorry for everyone that's tuned in, has been following the updates towards the fact that we haven't given an update in over 30 days now. But moving forward, you can expect them at least on a bi-weekly basis because there was a lot of moving pieces. And that was the main reason why we didn't hop on a call, unfortunately, was, a lot of positive direction, a lot of movements and challenges. And today, like Mike had said, we're going to peel back the curtain and chat about all of that, what we're working on, the challenges that we're facing, and how things are going realistically within the business. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here and just dive directly into the numbers. Okay. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to pull up just to show you guys the day that we had launched. Okay. So we launched on Amazon, specifically on June 4th. So it has virtually been about 6 weeks since we've launched the product, roughly. To date, looking at the numbers, you can kind of see overall we're averaging about 10 units per day. Some days, we're getting more sales. On Prime Day, we had our first $1,000 days, which was awesome to see, selling 21 units and 26 units. We have sold 504 units to date, not including today. And our total sales numbers is 21,585, again, not including today. Now, one of the exciting things through this journey over the past 6 weeks was, our launch price, as you can see, was $39.99. And over time, we wanted to keep testing price for a couple different reasons. We had some iterations that we want to make with the product. We wanted to make sure we had more profitability because I'm going to show you the profitability numbers here in the first place. But our first month, we virtually broke even. That's including refunds, that's including inbound costs, et cetera, et cetera. But as we started to progress, specifically even more so in July, we really started testing price point and we started going up to higher price points. We started at $41.99 and $43.99. Then we went to $49.99, $44.99. And now we're all the way up to $49.99 and we're still converting virtually at the same numbers, which is awesome and great to see. What that has allowed us to do is walk into July to be way more profitable, and we're actually profiting already. So let's dive into Seller Board now. Okay. I'm going to show you the numbers for last month. Again, we started on the 4th, I believe. So pretty much June was our first month. We sold 279 units. Okay. And we virtually broke even. So if we were to look into the breakdown here, we spent about $3,000 in advertising costs, which was definitely more. Like there were some days, and I'm going to get Eric to dive in and chat about, our advertising, how things have been going there. We were testing a lot. We were spending, upwards of $200 in some days. And now we've already gotten that down to $75. We're being a lot more targeted and, in other words, being a lot more profitable. We started seeing.
Sorry. Are you sharing Seller Board right now? We can't see
crap. Crap. I hate how you have to. So now what I want to do is I want to actually dive into Seller Board and show you the actual numbers that we've been able to achieve. Okay, so as you can see here, June, like I showed you, was our first month. We did 11.3K in sales within our first month. Okay, we sold 279 units. We spent $3,000 in advertising costs, and we virtually broke even, including refunds. Now, one thing that you're going to realize, and this is a challenge that we're going to talk about today, is we are getting a lot of refunds. 13 refunds here. We've already done 30 refunds specifically this month. And that's something that we're trying to solve current state. And we can kind of allude to what that looks like. But looking at the numbers here, again, advertising costs, $3,000. And that's, virtually because we were, and I'll get Eric to dive in and chat a little bit about our advertising strategy, but, we casted a wider net to start. Some days we were spending up to $200 per day, but now we have already fine-tuned that and got that down to anywhere between $75 to $100 per day current state, which has allowed us to be a lot more profitable. Okay. This month already, even with 30 refunds, which again, the ratio here is terrible and something that we're solving for, we've already done $1,200 in profit and $10.3 thousand in sales, which sits us at a roughly 12% margin. Okay, so things are, like I mentioned, very progressive. We're up at that $49.99 price point current state, and things are moving in the right direction. Since we're on the topic of refunds, I'm going to just quickly chat about that, and then I'll pass it over to Eric. But
Cool.
refunds, and the reason why we're getting refunds is pretty much the product is a little bit more complicated to get used to in terms of, one, how to open and use it, and two, how to close it. Okay, so a lot of the people and some of the refunds that we're getting are literally people saying that they got the wrong product because they aren't getting access to the jewelry and cosmetic organizer on the side. They don't have access to the hooks. And it's simply because it needs to be zipped up off the top and then it'll hang off of the side. So what we're working on right now is a few different things. Number one, we're putting our insert card directly onto the zipper that says the zipper in order to open up the jewelry organizer. And on that insert card, what we're also saying is we're going to be updating the call to action saying, what was it again, Mike? Do you remember?
Scan for more instructions on how to use your Voyage organizer or something like that.
So we're going to be updating the insert card to have a direct call to action to scan for instructions to essentially learn about your Voyage organizer. Just trying to mitigate that, because what it's going to do is pretty much the first zipper that you get access to, the zipper that's going to actually open up everything, they're going to see that directly. And they're going to hopefully scan the QR code if they have any questions or they need answers to anything on how to actually use the product. We're hoping that's going to mitigate that moving forward. So that's a huge challenge that we're facing right now. What's amazing is that we're still very profitable with those refunds. And if we can contain and control that, we're going to be in an even better position. Just to kind of give you some numbers, this month, our refund costs has been roughly around $1,000. Right? $913 in refund costs alone. So if we were to add that into our profitability, we would be sitting probably over 20% at this point. So
doubles for sure.
Yeah. So, just a quick barrier for us. I don't think it's anything that we can't overcome, which is awesome to see. But Eric, I'm going to get you to dive in if you want to just give, high level strategy of, how things have been going on the advertising side of things, number one. And then number two, I know you were on a call with Trivium today. Talk about some of the things that we are going to be implementing moving forward. I think if you can also just chat about, how we've had to dumb down advertising specifically due to inventory issues, and chat about where we're at with that as well.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been an epic journey working with Trivium. When we first started with our advertising strategy as a whole, we did cast a little bit of a wider net, and that was Trivium's recommendation. It's also something that we like to do in our businesses as well, with the full intent of us trying to find, hey, where does our product, our SKU actually sit in the marketplace? Test a bunch of keywords, figure out where we can rank, and then where we can focus on as we continue to become more lean and more profitable overall. But the biggest thing was pushing that sales velocity so that we can get organic rank. And now that profitability that you guys are seeing is because we're pushing a lot of organic units as a whole. Brian mentioned we were spending up to roughly $200 a day, which was definitely a little bit more than what we wanted to be. But again, the intent, the strategy behind that is you have to pay for data when you launch on Amazon. You can't go and gun for profits at the very beginning, because that's going to not allow you to build that sales history that you want for any listing that you're launching or any product that you're launching on Amazon. Now, as we've continued to push organic rank, get into the positions that we want to actually focus in, how we've now basically shifted our strategy is, hey, what are the markets? What are those keywords that we should specifically focus in? And let's be more intentional with how we're spending our advertising dollars. And let's start spending less dollars and reaping the benefits of all the work that we've done to rank our product across all of the different keywords, which I know Mike's going to be pulling up on Rank Radar. Correct, Mike?
Absolutely. So now what we are looking at is going to be Rank Radar.
Sorry, Mike. I still want to talk more. I still want to talk through. I have a handful of things. Cool. I was just prompting you to give me an answer. I like to engage people. So yeah, Mike's going to be pulling up and going through the actual ranks, and you'll see what we actually look at and how the decisions have now impacted our overall profitability as a whole. Obviously, you know, we could be double the amount of profit that we would be in if it wasn't for the refunds. But again, making those adjustments as we go through. But for us, it's keeping lean. And one of the other reasons why we want to keep lean right now is because the launch has gone really well. We're pushing more units than we had expected. And right now we're at risk of potentially running out of stock of the initial inventory that we had ordered. We have already placed an order and we plan to actually airship. We'll make that decision closer to us when we actually finish the order. But keep lean, reap the profits, and not push as hard as we know we could push if we had more inventory, with full intents to continue scaling once we get more inventory into play as a whole. You know, some numbers wise, you know, we're rocking anywhere between a 12 to 14% tacos current state. And on Prime Day, it was, you know, Brian mentioned we had our first couple $1,000 days. We were rocking a 6% tacos on both of the days, which is pretty damn epic. Really, really profitable. And I think that is a direct correlation to us being in position for customers to see us and us doing the work on our listing for us to convert those customers into actual purchasers, and therefore reap the benefits to the push that we did at the very beginning. So lots of work done, lots of more work that we need to do for sure, but trying to keep things steady as we possibly can until we get to our next inventory launch.
I'm going to quickly chat about Prime Day strategy and also our current order, just to kind of expand on what Eric had mentioned. Prime Day, we didn't even run a Prime exclusive simply because we didn't have a lot of stock, but we did run promotions. So the first day, what we tried was actually just running a 20% off price sales price. And we didn't get a sales slash on that specifically. But we still did over $1,000 in sales. Okay. The next day we took a different approach and we went up to our regular price point, which was $49.99 at the time. And we did a 20% coupon instead. And we actually did bigger numbers, less units, bigger numbers, and more profit. So that's what we did on Prime Day. It worked really well. We would have loved to take advantage of a Prime exclusive and or an actual Prime Day deal. But given inventory, we wanted to make sure that we didn't run out of stock. Specifically on our new order. So what I'm going to allude to, and we're going to chat about this on the next update, but due to how well things are going, we placed another order of 1,000 units. That is going to be done within the first week of August. So we're coming close here. Within the next 3 weeks, we'll be able to have inventory ready to ship out. And yeah, like Eric had mentioned, we'll have to make a decision closer to if we want to send in, you know, a few cartons via air so that we can remain in stock and the rest on sea. And that way we can fulfill on that. Now, we didn't make any iterations to the product other than the insert card, where that insert card that I mentioned before, that's going to hopefully resolve some of the refunds that we're getting. But we made some very exciting iterations while this production order was in process. We got a new sample created with some very exciting iterations to the current product. To give you a couple high level things, you know, better usability, more structural integrity, and overall just a much better design. And we were able to do that because, you know, those small things increased our cost of goods very marginally, but because we were able to get our price point up, we were able to make those decisions on the back end to incur a little bit of a higher cost of goods and still be profitable. So very exciting. On our next call, we'll chat about the specific sample, even show you guys what that looks like. But what I'll do is pass it over to Mike here. And we'll chat about, you know, how ranks are going. And on top of that, we had a really good call with our sponsor, Data Dive, and Brandon Young, and he alluded to some changes when it pertains specifically to the listing that we are going to go ahead and start testing and making those changes, hopefully to increase conversion rate, hopefully to increase click-through rate.
Absolutely. So diving into it, first, we want to understand that the entire point of the advertising efforts that we do on Amazon, definitely first to drive sales, to drive traffic, and ultimately make a bit of money. But more so than anything, what we're doing is we're teaching Amazon that when we bring customers to our listing, they buy and they like our products. And as a result, we get rewarded in their algorithm by what's called organic ranks. So we're going to dive in and we're going to take a look at a tool in Data Dive called Rank Radar. I'm going to break this down for you, exactly what we were able to achieve and what everything that you're going to see essentially means. So here is what is called the Rank Radar heat map. And so this is basically an overview of where our product stands in relation to all of the keywords that we see on the left-hand side here. Okay. So what I want to focus on is some of the keywords that we're doing really, really well on in our first month of launch. And as you can see along the top side, you have dates, and it will actually track your keywords every single day. Right? Along the left-hand side, you're going to have all of your actual keywords, the actual words that people who go on Amazon type into the search bar. You have your search volume, which essentially dictates how many times people are typing this into the bar in any given month. You have your relevancy. It's what Data Dive thinks your product is relevant in a percentage. And you can also have these outliers or these residues. These are words that we brought in, that we wanted to include, and that we thought would be relevant for our product. And then ultimately you have your numbers in your heat map. And this number quite literally means the position that you're in when somebody types this in to the search bar in Amazon. So current state for travel hanging organizer, if you were to type that in on Amazon.com, we would be the #1 search result. And we've been able to achieve that for all the way back to the 27th of June. So working through this, we're able to then see how our results have been since we've launched. And you can notice a couple of really important keywords. And as you can imagine, the higher you work up this list, the more search volume you have, the more coveted that #1 spot is, the more important that #1 spot is. And so if we look in our category, words like suitcase organizer, luggage organizer, you can imagine that our competition has been after these keywords for quite some time. So this generally is something that you'll go after later on, and will also be more expensive to go after as well. And so as you can see on our approach, we really try to target these smaller keywords so that we can start winning those positions at a much cheaper or less expensive rate. We'll hold solid rankings in these keywords. And then our strategy is essentially working up this list to ultimately take over more and more and more keywords. So as we can see, a couple of keywords that we're absolutely crushing in are travel hanging organizer here. We also have hanging travel shelves as well, hanging packing organizer, carry-on closet luggage, and hanging suitcase. So all of these words are highly relevant to our item because it is a travel hanging organizer at the end of the day. And so we've been able to, through a mix of PPC and other strategies that we're talking about in these updates, be able to achieve these results. And so now our goal is to maintain ranks on these. Really, you want to be within about the top 5 and start then targeting additional keywords with our advertising efforts, with our PPC efforts, in order to be able to take those over as well. And so over time, we'll continue to give you these updates and show you in real time the real data on how we're performing on these ranks. And the entire goal for our brand and the way we're approaching it is to grab and hold these organic ranks, work our way up the list. And ultimately, this will mean more organic or low cost and really no cost in terms of advertising sales for our brand. And that's really where, as Eric was mentioning, as Brian was mentioning, the profit will kick in, right? We're able to optimize, bring down our spend versus the amount of sales that we're making, and then start actually putting some money in the bank that we can then use for future variations, future iterations of the product, and ultimately launching more products in our brand to grow the brand in terms of SKU count. So that's a little bit of a snippet on how Rank Radar works. We will absolutely come back in the future and outlay additional features and go deeper on some of the specific things we're looking at. But from a really high level, this is something that we're looking at on a regular basis and ensuring that we kind of use as our North Star to ensure that we are making forward progress, forward momentum, and all of the advertising dollars and marketing spend that we put into it is achieving the results that we ultimately want to see. So Brian, I'll pass it back over to you to wrap up this call, and thank you everyone for listening.
Yeah. So, it's been nothing short but great in my eyes. One of the biggest things in business is where you put money, you want an ROI on. And as you can see with those ranks coming in, we're getting an ROI on it. Profitability within the second month is honestly hard to achieve when building a brand on Amazon nowadays. And we've been able to achieve it, even with a crap load of refunds. So it's really good to see. The crazy part is we're scratching the surface. There's so much that can be done. We still have barely tapped into social media, which we're working on in the back end. On top of that, we're going to be releasing a video from our partner Data Dive, and Brandon Young really picks apart our listing, talks about how it's positioned, talks about our target personas, talks about even the small little minute things when it comes to the products that are being used within the travel organizer and how they're being displayed. Like I said, scratching the surface. Our goal now that we know that this is a viable product, that it's a winning product on Amazon, is to scale. And with that, our goal is to improve our metrics, our click-through rate, our conversion rate. But on top of that, it's to launch variations so that we can improve our conversion rate and really just conquer the market. So within the updates moving forward, it's going to be extremely exciting. We're going to have more people on these calls, introduce you to more of the team, show you some more of the products that we're working on. And really, I don't even know where this is going to go, but in my eyes, to the moon. So if you guys saw value in this, again, we're really peeling back the curtain here and showing you everything. We're not trying to hide anything. If there's anything that you guys want to see, let us know in the comments. But for now, subscribe, hit the like button, and we'll see you guys in the next one.